All right, today we are going to install the latest mainline kernel or bleeding edge kernel on Ubuntu Linux. So let's check what we have right now. Uname-R. So we're currently at 6.8.0, so that's not very new at all. Not super ancient, but anyways, let's go ahead and install a newer kernel. So first thing we're going to want to do is add a repository. Now, I know we can normally install it just using apt install, but the normal stuff available through the normal repos just doesn't get any newer than this currently. So anyways, let's add this repo here, this PPA repo. And there we go. So next we're going to do an apt update. So just sudo apt update just to get the latest info about our repos. And then we're going to go ahead and install the mainline package. And hit enter there. And there we go. We have the mainline package installed. So let's just go ahead and list what's available right now. So we're going to run mainline list. And I guess instead of -- list, we could have just said list. But in any case, so I guess it's updating kernel info. And let's see what we've got. Okay, so we have a few different versions here. And remember, currently we are on version 6.8.0. So we have up through 6.13.6, right? And unfortunately, no 6. I know the newest version right now, if you clone the Linux GitHub repo, you're going to get 6.14. I know that's like as of today, that's the latest version. But yeah, so we're going to go with 6.13.6. So this is not the latest kernel that you get if you clone the GitHub repo, but it's much newer than what we have now. So 6.13.6. So, and we're currently on 6.8.0. So we're going to say mainline install, and I'm betting this can be done without dashes. Mainline -- install version, space V for version. Let's just paste that in there. And let's hit enter. No, install has been renamed to, it kind of expected this. This is not found. Okay, so you don't actually need to have that. You can probably just specify the version like that. There we go, downloading the version. So my instructions that say to specify a V at the beginning, that's wrong. Oh, by the way, check the link in the description if you want to copy and paste these same commands that I'm pasting in here. The document I'm copying and pasting them from is my basically my notes or my little guide that I threw together of just notes that I've kind of cobbled together. Check that link in the description of this video for where you can find those commands. Anyways, pkexec not found. So yeah, I'm not sure off the top of my head the significance of that, but we're going to go ahead and proceed ahead anyways. So I have installed the newer version of the kernel, and I don't believe, all right, so you're supposed to update a few other things first, but real quick, I want to just check what's in the boot directory. So ls-l boot, and here we are going to see, all right, so yeah, it looks like that did not work because we're only seeing the old kernel in here. And I should probably list this as a prerequisite. Should probably add this to my notes. If I don't add this to my notes, just well, remember you'll need to do this. In any case, sudo apt install pkexec. So interestingly enough, pkexec is installed on my regular desktop, just not on this host that I'm logged into. Not sure why I didn't have it here. I must have installed something that required it as a prerequisite in something I installed on my regular desktop. But in any case, On this host, I didn't have it, so if you don't have pkexec, which you very well might not, because this is a fresh Ubuntu install, go ahead and just install it manually, like apt install sudo apt install pkexec. So once you've done that, then you can run mainline install, and it should look pretty different than it did before. Okay, so there you go. Downloading, installing, authenticating. And I believe I probably should have done this with sudo. All right, but it's asking me for authentication. Okay. So yeah, another mistake I made. Sudo mainline install 6.13.6. This time it's going to work for real. All right, so there we go. That should have installed it. Let's check under the boot directory right here. So now we can see we have our kernel. So this is our current kernel, and this is the new kernel that we just installed with mainline. So, and you can see it came along with a system map and a init.rd image. So that's our init ramfs. So we have our old one and our new one installed. And interestingly, this link is now pointing to the new init ramfs, as well as our vmlin is a link to point to the new kernel. And I kind of like how basically this should, when we update grub, this should be the default kernel. So it's basically going to pick this as the first default entry on the grub menu, and that happens to be a link to the newest version, and that's a nice easy way to control which one is going to be your first kernel that gets picked up, that gets picked up by grub. So, and if we were to go to boot with -h, yeah, and so this is on our same, so mounted on boot. Okay, so it's separate, but anyways. So let's move along here. So next thing, I don't believe, let's check if grub was, I believe this should have updated grub for us as well. Let's verify. Let's see here. Boot grub and grub.cfg. Let's just check our grub config file, and can't view this as non-root. I believe that's just a specific Ubuntu thing. So let's scroll on through here to our first menu entry just to verify it's behaving the way that I expect it to. Now, first menu entry here, starting with this right here, and all the stuff that's indented after it is for this first entry. And you can see it's pointing to Linux, this line that says Linux here, and it specifies the kernel. That's the new kernel we just installed. vmlin is 6.13.6 generic, blah, blah, blah. So there we go. And after that, it gives you a submenu with that should have our old kernel and a recovery mode for the new kernel, and probably there's our old kernel right there. So yeah, so it looks like installing the mainline kernel as expected. It updates grub for us, so we don't need to update grub. Now, in my instructions, in my notes, I have it listed that we should update init ramfs manually, but you don't need to do that. So, like, if we did want to do that, we could do sudo update -init ramfs. You don't need to do that because we see by so my notes are wrong. You could do it anyways just to make sure, but you really don't need to, because we can see that it has created a new init ramfs. Here it's called, the link is called init.rd, init.rd being an older format, whereas init ramfs is the newer one. They just call it this, but it's the same thing. It's init ramfs. And this link we see it's created a new one for the new kernel, and the link is pointing to it. So that's what's active right now, and that's what's going to get booted into. So another thing it tells me to do is to update DKMS modules. I'm going to do this. I'm not sure if it's done this or not. I haven't specifically installed any, so it really doesn't matter that much. And I'm not sure if DKMS is even installed on this system, but let's give it a shot. We're going to try 6.13.6. There we go. And DKMS, the command isn't even installed on the system, so we definitely don't have any DKMS modules. So that's a non-issue anyways. If you don't have the DKMS package installed, you definitely don't have the modules, so you don't have to worry about it. So you can skip that. And we can proceed on to just rebooting the system. Reboot our silly snail system. And yeah, I need sudo for that. So let's reboot this, and we're going to connect back to it in a few minutes. I'm going to try SSHing back in, and we'll verify that we have our new updated mainline kernel that's almost as new as what you could pull from, from the GitHub repo. So SSH back in here and see if we can connect yet. All right, so here we go. Looks like the system has come back up, and we can SSH right back in. There we go. We're back into our host. Let's clear this and just say uname-r, and there we go. There's our brand new mainline kernel, 6.13.6, and that's the newest you can get from mainline. Now, I know just earlier today on an Arch Linux system, I compiled the kernel, and the newest was 6.14.0, and I believe because it was a release candidate and probably not an officially tagged version. I'm assuming that's why this is the latest one you can get. In any case, yeah, 6.13.6. That's the newest you can get with mainline on Ubuntu as of today. So, what else? That's about all we wanted to show you today. I do want to do a kernel compilation on Ubuntu too. I did just do one for Arch Linux, and I want to do another one for Ubuntu. Not sure what order I'm going to be posting these videos in, but yeah, stay tuned for that, and stay tuned for everything else on this channel. Do a lot more Linux stuff. We do Ubuntu, we do Arch Linux, we do even like Fedora and RHEL. A lot of Linux stuff and a lot of other OS. We still do. We still work with Windows and Mac OS. We do a lot of hardware, software, server stuff, desktop stuff, electronics, Raspberry Pis, networking, 3D printing, all that great tech stuff you want in your YouTube feed. So hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you actually get notified when new videos come out and you don't miss out. Might leave a comment down below if I missed anything or you have any suggestions or anything like that. Just leave a comment down below. We want to know what you're thinking. And also, what else? I think that's about it for today. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys on that next video.